Lauren, Melvin. How are you guys doing today?
Doing all right.
Oh,
Roger.
good. Good. Let's see what I got going here. Wonderful. Glad to have you guys here. I think a few more people should be joining us shortly. Michael is here.
I made it.
You did indeed.
Apparently, the link I have in my
It,
calendar is wrong.
yeah, Zoom did that to me 3 times this week. So I either didn't get a memo about them changing the token,
Okay.
but they changed the token, and that's the error you got, right?
No, it just said that it was invalid meeting ID.
Invalid token.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Takes care of the hair problem. It just sticking up. I don't know what's going on.
I guess they must. They're still working on their security.
Yeah.
Stephanie,
How are you?
I'm doing well.
I was here at 1 o'clock. I forgot the time change.
I know. See, that's the problem with us in Arizona. We just get used to it because it never changes for us. We're just like, Yeah. Jerry was here too. I saw Jerry was on there as well. So all of us Arizona people, all over the country, they're making these jokes. Well, going to turn the time ahead. Oh, going to gain an hour. We're all sitting here going, yes, shut up. Not a thing.
Yeah. I was sitting there listening to all the crickets chirp and thought, it's not right.
That's what I had to do. I had to do a show that's nothing but recorded crickets. So when you do sign on, you just hear the crickets. So, Sid, there's my buddy Sid, all the way out there in New Hampshire.
Happy Friday.
Sid, I've been meaning to ask, has anybody found Old Hampshire yet?
Well, it's on the other side of the pond, right?
Right.
Oh, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
I'm-
We just don't have
New
the
York,
accents. Or Margaret Thatcher.
Japan.
Oh, I
Or
know
the Queen.
I know so little about the other side of the pond. I kind of try to keep it that way. But anyway, well, cool. All right.
How's Arizona doing at the moment?
Well, we got some clouds out there. It's cool. It's getting a little bit cooler. It's supposed to be like in the low 60s on Monday. So we're
Good.
for a
We hit a warm patch. It's like 73 degrees out right now. We got all the doors open, and it's supposed to be like that all weekend. So I think this is going to be the last thing before the freeze.
The
very
last
nice. You know what I need? I need some maple leaves. You got any maple leaves you could put in a box and
Yeah,
send?
you want me to? Yeah. You could probably get them from Amazon faster, but.
Oh, you're probably right. I bet they would have some. Me and Amazon, we've been doing a dance lately. I
Yeah.
keep putting things in this thing that I see that I want, and then I go up and I go, I might as well order them, and I order them. So I got this handy thing.
Hiccup. What's that? Oh, is that another bracket?
It's a bracket. Yep. So my camera goes here, and I got 2 cold shoes, and I got this guy up at top, and I can put a cold shoe with my iPhone in it, or I could put a light up there, which is getting it far enough away from the camera that I wouldn't need. I'd get a little red eye reduction kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I paid more for one of these things back in the day than I paid for this thing. So what the heck? I just want to be able to take, that's an iPhone mount right there. I want to take my iPhone and be able to have it on my camera while I'm shooting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe running video on the iPhone. And
Yeah.
so
Very nice.
I noticed you were one of the very few photographers who didn't do a review of the new DJI Pocket 20 or
What is that?
I have
That-
no idea.
That's
It's
gibberish to me. I don't even
a
know.
little tiny camera on a gimbal, and it takes a 64 megapixel image.
The Osmo?
The two
Oh,
DJI something two, whatever.
I just got sucked into the Amazon Vine program. I don't know if you obviously probably have heard that, right? So evidently I've done enough reviews on Amazon in the past where they put me in this program now where I get a page of all kinds of stuff that I can just have sent to me for free, and then I just have to use it and review it. So I've been trying to contain myself, but I got in all kinds of I got the little Instax square thing, like totally free. All I have to do is just use it and post an unbiased review for it. So this week has been kind of cool. There's been all kinds of little things coming in the mail, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. So that's kind of cool.
How often do you review things?
It's just like stuff that I've bought for this, like just gear that I bought. And then when I've got a couple of lull moments when I'm on Amazon and I'm adding things to my wish list, I'm like, oh, I'll just blab about a couple of things that I talked about that I've previously purchased. And usually it's like, my seahorse cases or a C-stand or something like that.
Cool.
And evidently they got enough. I don't know what the whole algorithm is, but they just sent me a thing saying you've been invited to participate in this, blah, 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 blah. So I've been on Reddit. There's a subreddit for this group, and you've got to be careful because some people they allow you $600 worth of product per calendar year, and anything over $600, they start to tax you on the value of the items. And there are people on Reddit who are like, my entire house is furnished with free Amazon crap that I have to review. And they're like, tax time is coming. And the thing just says I owe, I've accumulated $300,000 worth of stuff from Amazon. And now the tax man's starting to knock on the door and he wants his share of that. So I've been trying to sort of do a little research to see what the catch is with this whole thing. So as long as I just pick one or two things at a time and space them out, I'll be okay. But I have to, it's like you get on there and there's just thousands of things. And it's like everything from camera equipment to laptops to just like crazy amounts of stuff. So I got to learn how to just be like, okay, I'll just do this and this and this, and that'll be it for 6 months. And then I'll pick one more thing. I have to be, I have to judge and not get caught up in the whole thing.
Amazon actually sent the tax man the fact that I made $14 from my book.
You cannot hide from him.
And the IRS sent me a form.
Mm-hmm.
On the same day, I got 4 copies of the same form saying that I did not report the $14 and they wanted their 63 cents. And I, of course, sent them their 63 cents because who am I to bankrupt the United States of America?
That's right.
So
that's right.
Now they probably spent more than 63 cents sending me 4 copies of the stupid letter.
Right.
So anyway, this is the DJI Pocket 2.
Oh,
And
like
yes,
it
takes it's a little gimbal camera, and yeah, rock and roll.
Oh, look at that. Smaller than a dinosaur. So did you get one?
No. I read 8 times slow-mo goes underwater. It's like, if you're into this kind of stuff, it's really great. I read or watched Peter McKinnon's review, and he did some shots and he did some video and stuff. And he said, at the end of the day, put it up next to your iPhone 10 or your Google Pixel camera or what have you. And, it's like, do you need it? Do you really need another one of these things? I guess if I was doing, if I go and do another motorcycle trip before the end of the year, which I may do, I may go down to Texas when it's cold. if I do, I may get one for the bike. That would be cool because you can get this little strap that goes right on your chest, so it can sit right here. It's
Yep.
it's all what do you call it? It doesn't bounce around.
It's got motions,
Yeah,
stabilization.
So
Now, what's the difference between this and like a GoPro?
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Is
just
why
the
wouldn't
handle?
you get a GoPro?
Like I just
Well, I
bought
think
one.
I think there's a couple of things. I mean, I think that first of all, this has the gimbal to it, so it actually does stabilize it better. Whereas GoPro uses digital stabilization, meaning that it uses and then the other thing they put into this one is they built in a wireless mic system. So you get a special handle that you can attach to this one as compared to the first one that allows you to have a microphone attached to you, or you can even put a lav into it and have a lav mic into this. So it also has a little bit wider view, field of view for like vlogging.
Big ass sensor.
Yeah, and so it's actually because of the audio improvements. I think it's a real capable camera for vlogging or even doing like interviews. And this combined with, I have one of these little mini drones. It's got the same kind of camera on it. You know, these are so small. These two things together, you could have drone footage, you could have gimbal footage with audio, and you could put together a nice little story of interviewing someone or whatever.
Yeah, and Peter said you can actually put this at the end of like a 12-foot stand, since it is stabilized, and you're viewing it through your phone. You're not viewing it through this little it doesn't have a screen on it. You're viewing it through your phone. You can actually do some faux drone on a stand.
You could absolutely. Yeah, like even a selfie stick. You could stick this on a selfie stick, extend the selfie stick out, and then hold it up in the air.
It's got a wide angle lens that fits this whole thing right here. But I think what makes it worth $350, this is my opinion, is that when you turn it on, it turns around and it nods at you like, and then it turns right around. And I thought, I was looking and go, wow, $350 is a lot of money. And then I saw it do that, and I went, shit.
It winks at you.
Man. That's like AI talking back, baby.
It puts $350 in your bank account.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you think about this, if you use one of these, or if you get the drone or don't get the drone, if you're out on an assignment and you do some portraits, you could do a quick interview with the person. You could do a little bit of behind the scenes with them, put that on Instagram for a minute. I mean, you're right. The footage is probably not equal to like a 1DX, Mark III or whatever. No, but it's perfect for Instagram or even YouTube in terms of just promoting that, hey, here's what I do for, here's the kind of clients I work with.
It's 4K.
Yeah.
4K. And Peter said that in his test, and then there was somebody else that did the same thing, said the same thing. In his test, it was maybe a sliver better than the iPhone 10. A sliver better, but not as good as the Google Pixel or whatever. That's the phone my daughter has, and oh my God, the video coming off of that is just literally. It's got that AI stuff, so it won't underexpose the shadows, it won't overexpose the highlights. It just nails it in the video. But yeah, I mean, I can't use my iPhone. We can't use our iPhones as adventure cameras. That would be. I tried doing that, Jerry. I was going to ask you about that. I tried doing that. Yes, I rode down Salt River Canyon with one hand on the motorcycle handlebars and the other one holding the video camera. This is something I can share with you guys today because my wife is not anywhere near me telling you this story. So, and I got to the bottom and it was all weird. It was all like,
Yeah, I think part of it is that it does, and this may suffer from the same thing, is you'll get that rolling shutter. So you will get warping and that kind of thing. The other thing that you could do, and I've done it, if we're all confessing here, is I've used the time-lapse feature on the iPhone when I'm driving, so that as you go through something, it speeds it up, and that tends to kind of stabilize it. I think you're right. The iPhone is probably a very good competitor to this, or any mobile phone, but I tend to like something I use my phone for so many things that I hate to tie it up. You know, just you know, it's nice to have just a separate camera that
I should
battery.
say,
Yeah,
I'm on the edge. I'm
I
really
am too.
right
Yeah,
on the edge because $350 is not bad.
it's not bad.
This thing.
What you want though is that creator combo though. They keep getting you because that includes the you see that extension rod and that includes the audio. So
And
it
the
just depends
audio,
on what you want to use it for. Yeah.
I already did a Kickstarter where I'm getting an audio thing that goes on my shirt. It's supposed to come in
Oh.
next month. So now I already got that, but I don't even know if it'll talk to this one. Should, but
I don't know if there's an input on this or not. That's a good question. It's
the-
through the handle normally.
the audio is cool because it's got four microphones.
Right.
And you turn it to mic only front, mic only back,
Wow.
both mics, or all four mics for total surround sound.
Right. But then there's that extension you see below. I think it's $69. That has the wireless audio built
Right.
in. Yeah. So that's an additional.
So you'd have to get this and the, well, you can do it all handle. This is a
I
do
can't
it all.
remember. It's like a little pack, and then that you can actually use that I think as the microphone, or you could plug in a lavalier.
Yeah.
And then put that on.
And
So,
their microphone, I think, is $70.
right.
They're little.
So they keep adding. You know, you get these little death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of those things, though. It's, you know, I caught myself. I was sitting there going, well, I'm an old guy, and I'm looking at this going, yeah. Then I said, okay, stop being an old guy and turn it around and look at it. And I went, well, there's a ton of stuff you could do with this thing.
Yeah.
Just a ton of stuff. And if I drop that and I'm in the middle of Colorado, I am still attached to my phone. I can call for backup. I can find a room. If I drop my phone, I'm really in trouble.
No.
So I don't know. I'm really on the fence. I into the day to day.
If you were on your motorcycle, how would you attach it to yourself?
Super glue. Bungee cord.
Now there are little mounts, right?
I hold it right here in my mouth.
I think there aren't.
I was looking at a GoPro, and I know you can mount it on your helmet, but I don't know if you got this. How would you do that?
You actually cannot mount it on your helmet in Montana and Colorado.
Ah, okay.
Did you see the one that it looks like a mouth guard and you put the GoPro on the end and you can put it in your mouth? It's like a little plastic silicone.
No, I have not.
They're making everything for anything and everything. It's amazing.
Well, when you go out and you see the footage that's happening today, and a lot of this ties back to, I don't know if you guys saw this thing. I posted a video with a young photographer talking to a young guy who is a art producer, talking about what photographers need to be doing today. I can tell you that you've heard it from me ad nauseum, but this time you get to hear it from a young guy with hair. So this is just, you know, same stuff. And he's saying, he said the same thing we all know: content, content, content. Make, make, make. And that's what the young dude, the photographer. Do you know who I'm talking about, Steph?
No.
What's his name? Oh, come on. What's his name? Yeah, go over here.
You already said Peter McKinnon, so that's
It's not
No.
Peter. No, Peter's
Maddie
um
Hapoya.
no, not him either. Where? Samuel Elkins, the guy with the best voice on YouTube, hands down.
You're right.
I'm looking back to the YouTube video. Hope you guys are
He has the best voice.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
That I wanted
That
to discuss on this
voice does not match up with that face.
how to get hired by your favorite client.
So-
I know.
What he's here, what he's doing is he's talking to this other guy. He's a producer, so he's producing. Samuel is an up and coming photographer, and they talk a little bit about what it's, what works out there, what's going on. And the bottom line is, they said same thing, make work. Like Samuel has been around. I've known of him for at least 6 years. He started on Instagram and forums, and had a bunch of stuff, shot real pretty pictures of girls, did a lot of film work, still does a lot of film work. Very good natural light photographer. I don't think I've ever seen him use strobes. Have you, Jerry?
No, I mean, he does a lot of that Southern California. It's got a Southern California vibe of taking the
It's
road
like,
trip.
I've seen him
weird.
shoot. He doesn't even shoot with fill cards half the time. I mean, it's just him and
Oh,
the camera. But he's getting, Audi and Range Rover and, some pretty big clients. And how did he do it? He shot everything that came his way. He just shot it. And he says, you don't look for money up front. You look for the ability to do the job. You're not, no one's going to start this business, get their brand new 5D Mark II or Mark III or Mark 9. I don't know where the marks are now. And then go out and get, U-Haul. It doesn't happen that way. U-Haul's going to want to see, they want to hear about you. So this guy's been working at it for 6 years. And about a year ago, it started really paying off. He was doing like lookbooks for fashion designers in LA and headshots. And Lee's going somewhere again. Every time we have this show, Lee is going somewhere. It's like, maybe she's a Lyft driver or something. Are you an Uber driver? What's going on?
No. What happened on Fridays, I leave school at 4, right at 4. So, but I love the photo talk so much that I need to watch it on my way home.
Okay. So whenever
Derek always picks me up because, yeah, the school is a very nice area. It's not a nice area in Cincinnati, so he doesn't want me even drive here. It's very dangerous.
So,
it's dangerous because of the sun, and it's dangerous because of the drivers.
So
he picks me up. So I do have.
When her video goes off, we know she's driving through Popeyes right there. That's what's happening.
Yes.
But yeah, just you gotta make work to get work. You have to be, as I've written about this a couple times. I've said, and Sid, I think you commented on one of my articles when I wrote it. Before you can become a photographer, paid photographer, you have to become a photographer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before you get a job playing jazz piano at a club, you got to be a piano player. You got to know that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't buy a piano and get a gig. And it's the same way with photography. Photography's got a very easy curve at the beginning, and it's getting easier. I mean, if on Facebook's all those, one of those things will actually fix your picture for you, replace the sky for you with perfect AI, and do all that stuff for you. So all you have to do is take the picture, and if you're within 5 stops, who cares? It'll fix that for you too. Okay, that's getting like it's real easy. All you have to do is throw the camera out the window and take a picture.
Right.
But then you get to that point where now it's tough. Now, for us to crack from here to here, that's like a vertical freaking line. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't even take into account like just creative problem solving in general. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you should just shoot a shit ton before you start hanging your shingle out as a business, so that when you get on a job for a client and stuff starts going south, you start to, you know how to handle this stuff. You know how to creatively problem solve your way out of it while you're on a gig. I know people that, like they've taken jobs and they're not ready for them. And then they call and they're just like, I need some help over the phone. I need to get through this thing. And it's like, you shouldn't take that job if you run into an obstacle and you don't know how to take care of it, especially when you're in front of a client. Like that's, so yeah, I'm just before anybody, like anytime I get anybody that comes to me and they're just like, what should I do? This is what I want to do. How do I do this? And it's just like, take 3 years and just shoot, like shoot and experience and fail, and then learn while you're failing how you can correct those problems, so that you don't have a creative director or a client staring at you and you're just like frozen. You're just like, fix it in post. No, like you gotta be able to do that. So yeah, I'm a proponent of like, that's great. You want to be a photographer, but realize that, if today's the day you're going to start, you're at least 2 years out, because you've got to get the technical down and you got to get all that stuff, so that when you finally get on a job, everything is automatic and you don't have to worry about all the technical stuff. You can just do it.
And 2 years is a good number too, because it used to be 5.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no number. Like I say, you take as long as it takes
yeah,
to get to that point where you feel you're ready. But you sort of have little things you got to do in between, because it's like, if you just take pictures of the same thing all the time, you don't get things that come in and interrupt your process, that make you have to be like, oh God, I was going in this direction. I got to figure out how to go this way to fix that problem. So you've got to just kind of just shoot and then try to create issues that you need to sort of solve yourself. I just too many people jump in the water, feet first, and it's like you gotta learn how to swim, and you gotta learn how to swim backwards, and you gotta learn how to flow on your stomach, and you gotta learn how to go underwater without your holding your nose, and just all that stuff that you gotta learn how to do.
I sometimes talk about this young lady wanted to be a food photographer. She was a food blogger, so she knew about food, but she really wanted to be a food photographer. So she shot her portfolio and started her business in 60 days. She literally shot all day long. Obviously, she didn't have kids. Maybe she had a husband, very patient husband. Who knows? But she shot and she put them on Unsplash, and then would look at the Unsplash results to see if she was getting somewhere. The stuff that got a lot of results, went back and analyzed it and kept shooting that stuff. Within 60 days, she's getting jobs.
Wow.
She's also aggressive on the phone, as this young man in the, I'm going to put this in the link over here. So if you're not in one of the forums, there it is. That's the YouTube. I really recommend you watch it. But as he points out in there, the hustle is so important, and the grind is, you just got to love the grind. You have to love it. He's asked at one point in here, Sam asked him, do you think it's a good idea for photographers to go right to the brands, right to the clients they want to use? And he said, absolutely, overwhelmingly yes. The answer would have been no 36 months ago. Today it's yes. Go right in the front door. You don't need to be hired by a middleman now. They'll look at you. They'll tell the middleman in many situations to use you because they like your look, your style, whatever. And you still have to have a style. You can't get it by shooting 3 times a month. You can't.
No.
There's no.
I think it kind of comes back to, though, something that you always harp on, is that the personal projects, it feels like you have to love what you're going to do, because you need to do it a lot. And the other thing about it is not just the creative, I think, is that depending on the project or whatever you're doing, I think you develop a network and a relationships with whatever the subject is, or, so that you now bring additional resources, not just your camera and your vision, but you also are bringing, whether that's portraiture with maybe a makeup artist or those types of things, or if you're targeting specific industries, those are relationships and that are valuable to brands to say, okay, go out and shoot that. I don't know. I just think, but you have to really love doing it. I mean, you got to do that on your spare time and go out and do it. And so it's like, pick something you really love to do and just go do it and put it out there. And then, I know it's common sense, but it feels like that's still the way.
You got to talk it up. Let's talk about a brand. Let's say Justin Boots. Justin Boots probably has, I think they do have a very large ad agency. And the way that's always flowed before was the ad agency comes up with an idea and goes to Justin Boots and pitches the idea. Guess what? Come up with an idea, you go pitch Justin Boots. You go take your 15 shots of your buddies who are cowboys with the boots and say, I want to do this kind of rough and gritty thing. What do you guys think? They may go, thanks, Jerry, that's not our thing. Or they might go, holy crap, we've been thinking about doing a specifically TikTok aimed campaign at kids between 16 and 24 for Justin Boots. And your stuff that's what we want. They'll hire you on the spot. They will. They don't need to go through that other route anymore.
Yeah, I think the content demand, just like you said, Don, not only for photographers, but for brands, the amount of content they need to pump out on their social media is significant. And, maybe it's not the highest paying work, but I mean, if you came to them and said, look, we'll do and it's kind of a flyer on your Instagram, we'll do the next, 2 months or whatever, they might give you a flyer and say, okay, we'll pay you X dollars to run a campaign and see where it goes, because I think these brands have to be pumping out quite a bit of content too, and it's hard to do.
They do, and it's uncharted territory. So you're right, Jerry. It's probably not going to be a full budget thing. In fact, you might be working with a part of the company, and they're going, let's take $2,000 out of discretionary and run this thing, and we can take it by the boss. If you're gonna charge them $10,000 for 2 shots for Justin Boots, that's gonna go up through the chief marketing officer, brand, and all that crap. There's so much that goes on. As a matter of fact, in a previous, about a year ago, Sam was talking about how frustrating it is at the beginning when you're shooting, because you're shooting for these big brands and you hardly ever see the work. The work might be they're not hiring you to do North America Land Rover shots for CBS television spots. They're hiring you to do cool little billboards for Sri Lanka or, somewhere else. Every time these brands create stuff, they don't put the same ads here that they do in South Africa or in Kenya or in Egypt or in Italy or whatever. They're all tailored for the markets there. And when I shared space in LA, I can't even tell you how long ago that was. Let's put it this way. You could still hear the animals struggling in the tar pits. It was quite a while ago. I shared space with a guy whose entire portfolio was from India. He would be the guy shooting the Old Spice for India. And here's the interesting thing. The same set, same wardrobe, little bit changes the wardrobe, and the same everything, the same gesture and everything. But this was shot for India. This was using an Indian man, an Indian woman, and the whole bit, the label would be a little bit different, but they would shoot 6 or 8 different of those ads and brands, and most photographers never even knew that work existed, but it's out there. So it's a tough business. This gentleman and Sam also point out the fact that initially you're probably going to be working for far less than you hear other people working for when you're starting out. It's just the way the business works. You'll get there unless you quit, unless you say, oh, well, I'm offended. I need to get as much money as, at this point, Sam Elkins, who's thinking he should get the same money as Chris Chrisman. Chris Chrisman, by the way, is so busy. He just had a major letter went out to his clients that he will no longer, for the rest of this year, work on weekends, that he's not doing it. He needs to take time with his family. That went out from it. Can you imagine being so busy that you had to send a note out to your clients, you're not working on weekends? So when people say there's no work out there, there's work out there. And Chris goes to the brands, right? To the brands. He does ads and things as well, but he also gets right out there in that brand stuff. And he doesn't say no very often, unless it's, terribly low for Chrisman. It might be real good for Sid Ceaser and Don Giannatti and Jerry, who might go, yeah, baby,
Right.
sign me up. But for Chris, he's like, no, I can't do that. So lots of lots of information. It's a great 40 minutes. Sid, I know you'll love it.
Yeah, I've got it bookmarked on my YouTube page now so that I can watch it.
Good.
Yeah.
Let's tell us what's going on with you, Sid. What's happening?
So I had showed some images with a musician that I shot, I think last week.
Right.
So he came back for part 2, and part 2 was he's coming out with a little EP, a little 5-track CD that he's getting ready. So we did the cover and the rear for that, and he had a really nice. He came to me because he was just like, he's like, I have this idea. He's like, I don't know if it's something that we can do. So the name of the name of the album is called Growth 101, and so he had this idea. He was like, how can we get my head in a planter's box? He's like, I want it so that my head is actually inside like a planter's box, and there's like something coming out of my mouth that's starting to grow and everything. And so basically we built a little 15-inch square raised flower bed, and we cut a little section out of the end of it so he could slide his head inside the box, and we cut away so that it didn't, break his neck or choke him or anything like that. And then we got potter's soil, and we
very nice of you, Sid.
Yes, well,
Very nice.
I try to accommodate, and I want to make sure
very nice.
people breathe. Yeah. And it was great. So we threw a tarp on the ground here. We just did it a couple of days ago. In fact, let me share the thing, and I'll show you
Absolutely. I got
a little mock-up that we sent him. And he got a couple of bags of potter soil, and let me share this. And let me bring this. And where is it? It's hiding under my window here. There it is. So I'll bring this up. Everybody see that?
Cool.
Yeah, so he built this little 15-inch square raised bed, and then he just laid down on the ground, and we lowered it down over his face. And he had 2 bags of potting soil, and I just dumped it all over him. And this is and then he bought these little wooden letters and stuff. So I like the fact that it was all practical effects. Everything was done in camera. We laid everything out, and then after it was done, we just sort of pulled it up, and then we packed it back in there, and then we did the back of the CD cover, which is just the track listing and stuff like that. And he was over the moon because he didn't know how we could do it, and I was just like, oh, this is, simple, easy peasy stuff. And he's a contractor on the weekends, so he just built the box right before he came. We need to do a little touch-up work down here, but I thought it was great. He's so happy. I sent him these things about 4 hours ago. I'm like, what do you think? And he was just like, oh my God. He's like, it's exactly what I was thinking. So it was fun. It was fun to find somebody that wanted something that wasn't just sort of like a run-of-the-mill headshot or something like that. So we got dirty, and it was good.
It really reminds me of my first job as a collection agency for Joey the Freak in New York. I used to get him right about here, and we discuss, payment. That was a long time ago. Statute of limitations. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
So you had to prove that you actually did it, right?
That's right. Had to get the photos.
Proof of practice or something.
Hey, Sid, did you, I'm always the videographer. Did you grab video of
we suspended his cell phone from like almost
perfect
pop over. So he got about 2.5 hours of footage, and he was going to do like a thing. So as soon as he gets that done, he's going to send it over to me. And in that you see he's like laying down, and we slide it over, and we try to measure everything. And then you see me dump all soil all over his face. And I had
Did he do it as video, or did he do it as stop motion?
He did it as video, and then he's going to arrange it so that it's like a 2-minute time-lapsey kind of thing. And then I took a bunch of little shots. So the way we did it was because he was laying there, and at one point he's got this thing covering his mouth. So I would take a shot. We couldn't tether it because there was no way to angle the laptop where he was down. So we would take a couple of shots, and then I would just take a cell phone shot of the back of the phone, the back of the camera, and then I would just kind of hold it over his his face, and he would just be like, and you know, like one blink was like moved it this way, and two blinks was move it that way, and he did a good job. He did a good job, and he was such a good sport about the whole thing because I was just, you know, I've never dumped soil all over somebody's face before. That was pretty amazing.
I have, but anyway, that's so long ago. So long ago.
And I learned when you're vacuuming dirt off of people to not put the vacuum cleaner near their lips. So this is an important safety tip, or their ears, because you don't want to suck their eardrums out.
Yeah, that's very true. Ask me about concrete sometime. Anyway, there was a lot going on this week with announcements, and I don't know if you guys saw the it was announced previously, but I never saw it. You can now use your Nikon DSLR as a webcam. So I'm thinking, oh well, that's cool. I wonder if you can use Canon DSLR, and you can. So you can hook your Canon or your Nikon or your Lumix, whatever, up as a webcam for when you're doing Zoom meetings or pretty much anything. I did not know that. That all came about after the pandemic. All the camera companies jumped on this thing, and I never heard a word about it. So I may be a little behind the times letting you guys know. But if you Google it, you can set your camera up and do that stuff. I don't know. I didn't check Sony and Fuji and all those.
Yeah, I think they. I think all of them. You're right. Are catching up on it, and I think they just updated their software for the individual. I'm not sure if Canon updated theirs for the Mac yet, but I know because I think it works through the software that you have on your computer, and they've updated those. And I'm not sure if the Mac one for Canon is updated, but I just tried. You can use your iPhone because the Macs are kind of notorious for having bad. The laptops have bad or 720p cameras. But there is a software called Camo, I think it is, where you can plug your iPhone in and actually use those cameras.
I have Camo. I have the free version. Do you have the upgraded version?
I bought it just to, the test is $39.
Apparently, it's a whole lot better than the free one.
Yeah, it's 1080p. It looks good. I'm not using it right now, obviously. So I don't know. It's kind of I think you need to set something up permanently so you can just kind of turn it on. And you don't have to be messing with it. So we'll see.
That's what I'm working on. I'm gutting my office this weekend. My wife and daughter are away. I'm gutting the office, painting it, putting it back together. By Thanksgiving, I'll have a camera sitting here for webcasts, whether it's my iPhone 7 or my Lumix or my Canon. I don't know yet, but it'll be sitting there, and then I'll have that field of view perfect. So when I'm doing a little boom that's going to come down with a little hair light, I really want it to look good because I spend a lot of time sitting here talking to people. I want it to look as good as I possibly get it.
Are you on a Mac or are you on PC?
Mac.
Yeah, because have you looked at Ecamm Live or ecamm.com? It's ECAMM.
No.
It's a pretty impressive piece of software. It allows you to have multicam hookups to your Mac, and then you can switch between scenes. So you could have a couple
like a 2-camera shoot.
Absolutely, and then you can also put it. It's pretty intuitive. It's not, it's got a little bit of a learning curve, but not bad. It's beautifully designed, and you can set up pre-set up scenes so that all you have to do is mouse, click on it, and you switch scenes. And it includes lower thirds. You can bring in graphics. It's pretty impressive what you can do on a webcam. I think it plugs into Zoom, so you can have a multi-camera setup for a Zoom call or a webinar.
That could be interesting because I have 2 iPhones. I could definitely.
We're looking at it for our client now because he's, as you kind of slowly, they're wanting to do more live presentations for their companies. There's a lot of work for live streaming for that kind of thing. So still, I'm just trying to build my skill stack, or whatever you call it, in terms of just trying to do all sorts of things, keep busy.
Sure. Who else wants to share? Who else has got something for us to talk about? When everybody talks at once, you know what I'm talking about, Sid? Everybody jumps in like that. It's just so hard to hear.
They get so excited.
I know, to hear one voice out of it.
I can talk.
Talk it up.
Here, I'll share my screen. Let's see. Here we go. So I posted the preview on Project 52 of this one. This is all in studio, and I didn't like the fall off. And the problem is it's still, the scan is not. This is the frustrating thing about scans is they don't equal plates. I mean, the plate doesn't quite look like the scan, and so that's what I was playing with. But you know, we got a little more light here because the way it looked before, almost like a flashlight was shining through the window. The fall off was so quick and fast, it didn't look realistic. You know.
What did you do? Did you end up doing multiple scans and combining them?
No, I reshot the plate.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a 5-foot umbrella up here now instead of nothing.
Okay.
Because a lot of times with directional light, I like the light to remain directional and not have a lot of fill. But this was one where it went from shiny. Well, here you go. See, nice and shiny to nothing.
Oh, wow. Yep.
And it's tilted just a hair, which bugged me a lot. So we had to fix that tilt, and we had to fix and give it a little bit of fill. And this is still.
How long is your lens?
That's a 360.
15-inch?
360 is what, 12? 14? No, 12. 12 inch.
12
Yeah.
inch?
Huh?
12 inch?
I think that's 12 because 14 is 400.
All right. Yeah.
25.4. Nope, sorry. So maybe, no, 14. 14.
And what did I say?
I don't know what you said. So yeah, you're right. 14.
Was going, yeah, I think that's a
I'm so used to the millimeters and centimeters and that I don't translate it to the inches, and which is stupid because my bellows are in inches. So
I was going to say, and you know what that means, right? For a 14-inch lens, right?
What's that?
You know what that means, a 14-inch lens.
Yeah, when I have it racked all the way out, I need to add some.
No, it means when infinity is 14 inches from the back of the lens to the plate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I did know that. I wasn't sure what you were asking.
I think
so. That was what I was sitting here doing while I was listening. And then I've got a stack of prints I got to take over to a gallery and drop off. So fingers crossed that they sell.
That's beautiful work.
Thank you. So yeah.
Yeah, I got a 14 3/4, a 375 millimeter lens.
Yeah. So that's like the 50 mil of 8x10, pretty much.
No, it's like the 65 millimeter of 8x10.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, 300 is considered your normal lens on an 8x10. So 350 is a little bit long, just a little bit longer, and mine's just.
I like the 350, 360, whatever, around that range. I like that. It works well. It's
my 210 will cover. My 210 will cover about 90% of the back. I've got a Nikkor.
Mm-hmm.
What that means, folks, is a 210 millimeter lens, is 4x5 lens, is a slight telephoto. It's like an 85, but on a 8x10, the coverage for the 210 is a circle. It's it's like that. But if I come in close and I rack it out, then it'll fill it. But at infinity, I get a circle on the back. But there's so many fun things you can do with it. So many fun things.
Well, that's an infinity too. I mean, I've got a 240 that I use for semi macro a lot, and I mean, once you get double and triple, I've got a 50 millimeter that I can put on there and get 12 times.
And when you stretch that bellows out, if you've never used a view camera, you stretch the bellows out so far that you can't look in the back and adjust the front at the same time. So you have to, Sid's laughing his ass off. So you look in the back and you go, I think I got to tilt it a little bit. So then you come up here and you tilt it and you go back and go, No, that ain't it. To come back,
Yeah,
takes about
but
an hour.
that's what makes it
Everything else.
fun, you know?
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun. Unless you get one of the modern monorails, and then, you know, you've got all your controls are right there. You can still move things, but I like my field camera. It's pretty, you know, it's got its limitations. It's heavy as hell, you know.
Yeah, but it also folds up into a little suitcase.
It does. I can actually put it in a backpack and carry it.
You can't do that
surprisingly.
with a Sinar 8x10.
No.
No, you need like a special vehicle for that thing.
You need your pack mule.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So we got to figure out a way to make a digital back for an 8x10. We just got to figure it out. I was thinking about getting a whole bunch of old chips, right? And just gluing them together.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, had that thing you showed us last week go, that thing that you attach the camera to, and then you like shift it over like 6 times to capture an image?
I
Did you use
haven't.
that?
I have tested it. It doesn't quite cover the full 4x5. You get about 4.5 by 3.5.
Okay.
So, but I was very impressed. I just took it on the porch, did like some cactus and stuff with it. Very impressed with the final file.
Good.
And Photoshop has gotten so good at stitching stuff, you know. Actually, I stitched 2 in Photoshop and I stitched 2 in Lightroom. I was really pleased with all of them.
Good.
So, yeah, I think I'm gonna have some fun with it.
Yeah, you should do a little video so that we can sort of
I am. Yeah.
So we can see how you use it and what it does.
That's exactly why when I was looking around, I was looking at that little DJI thing because I want to do so much more content of shoots and other things that I was thinking, how can I do this? The thing I like about the DJI, flipping back to the beginning, is it has that tracking thing. So you can set it there and you can walk by
and it'll follow
and
you.
come back here and it just follows you just smooth as hell.
Crazy.
And
Hey, can I say something real quick?
No, Terry.
I have to go to a doctor's appointment, but
please.
You were what?
Mm.
What?
Yes, you can.
You were talking about. Sorry to interrupt.
That's right.
But I have to go. And you were talking about a digital back for an 8x10, and X-rays now are done on digital plates. So instead of using film now, they're using a plate that they put behind you, and the X-rays go and expose the plate, which used to be film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody might be able to look into finding one of those digital plates that they use for X-rays. They come in all sizes. They come in 11 by 17 and 8 by 10. And
but don't you have to have gamma rays to excite the plate?
well, I don't know about that because they used to just use film, right? I mean, I get X-rays in my office.
Yeah. It's called ortho film.
Yeah, because I look at them and they're black and white film, and the silver recovery places love to buy them back from us for all the silver.
A lot of silver, and because on those films there's silver on both sides. There's emulsion on both sides of the plate.
Wow.
You can go and buy orthofilm on Amazon. It's way cheaper than 8x10 black and white film. I mean, way cheaper.
So anyways, I just thought that
great idea.
I don't know if it would work without the radiation or if the light would still excite it or how it could work, but it might be an idea to try.
It would. The only thing that would stop me, Terry, is if it didn't have 2 slots.
Funny.
Sounds like a Kickstarter. What you need to do is probably go to that company that makes the digital back for the X-rays, see if they could do it as a positive plate, and then put it on a Kickstarter and say, here you go. See if we can sell enough of them.
For the 11 people who still have their 8x10.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's a Kickstarter. You got to pre-sell it to see if they would even, because
there's some of us weirdos, Don. I mean, we got one sitting behind.
Yeah. Well, I bet you that's why those X-ray companies probably haven't done it. It's just that it's too small of a market to.
I probably know 5 or 6 up here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why if you got a Kickstarter going, you go to the company and say, hey, could you produce it for us? You know, it might be kind of cool.
Maybe a good idea to check it out. Thank you, Terry. I didn't.
Okay, I gotta go. It's always fun listening to you guys, but I gotta
All right,
go.
take care.
See ya.
Yeah, that is interesting. Mike, have you shot the ortho film?
Yeah, it's I didn't shoot
contrast.
enough of it to get the developing down though, because the developing's kind of weird.
Yeah,
And
it's very high contrast.
yeah, well, yeah, it's very high contrast. I've seen some guys that have done it with Rodinal because Rodinal seems to be the magic developer for everything.
Yeah.
Which I'm so sick of hearing about Rodinal, but whatever. But the other thing that's kind of weird about it is because it is orthochromatic, it's very sensitive to the blue light. So if you get out in the daytime, you might rate it at 800 ISO, but you get it in studio under strobes, especially low UV strobes, and you might have to rate it at 100 ISO. So
and all you have to do is look at it to scratch it.
Oh yeah.
Just
unless you get the blue stuff. I've got the blue and the green downstairs, and the green is the double-sided, super soft, and the blue stuff is single-sided, and it was used mostly for mammograms. And so it's a single-sided. It's actually a heavier acetate that it's mounted to as well. So it holds up. It holds up pretty well.
I see you put over here 100 sheets for $39, where 100 sheets of T-Max 100 would be
about $800.
I was going to $600-800. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, no. I think it's gone up in price. I want to say last time I looked at it, I didn't buy it, but I want to say last time I looked at it, it was roughly about $11 a sheet.
Yeah.
So
darn
yeah,
expensive.
it's
And
not
then,
cheap.
Then finding somebody to process it for you, they're going to want more than that per sheet.
Well, see, that's the reason why I don't need to shoot film, is because I can shoot glass. My sheet of glass is less expensive than the film, and I can wipe it clean if I don't like it.
Yep. Well, you can always process your own film. So.
Oh, I do that. Yeah.
Yeah, 8x10 is easy.
Yeah.
So we have the shooting on film thing going over at Lighting Essentials. They're at the end of week 1 now. So I'm hoping people are gotten their film cameras out. Got some. I decided to give away my the winner, whoever is chosen the winner, and Sid will be a judge. I think I'm going to bring in Jerry as a judge as well. Whoever wins will get all of my books signed. Not by me, but there's a guy across the street right now. He's mowing the lawn. He's going to sign all the books, but all of my books signed by me. And the second place winner will get the collections book, hardcover of that, a hard copy of that, and a couple rolls of film. Third place will get something else and a couple rolls of film. So that's what I'm throwing in. I think I've got a couple of people, a couple of places that want to throw some stuff in too. So we'll see what happens. I hope film is not dead. Will cut us some slack too.
Yeah.
Processing, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
So very good, very good. Who else wants to share? Stephanie, you've been shooting. What have you been doing? Did you go back up in the bucket? Stephanie gets in the buckets and goes up and shoots people installing electrical lines 1,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, haven't been up in the bucket lately. They've been really busy, and it was really bad weather the other day we were out. So, but we got to shoot, I think next week for them again. So we'll be out with the line crew. That's what we've been doing mostly this year, is just with the line crew. So, but yeah, that's it. Some headshots, nothing too much. I reached out to some people but haven't heard back yet. So we'll see what comes down the road.
It's getting real soon, folks. It's getting to the focus on your personal work period. 4 weeks before Christmas has never been good for me. For me, anyway. I don't know. Other people maybe. Sid, you do people. There might be more people work than
a little bit, but I also use that as an excuse to play around with my toys in the winter. So that's my personal shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll be doing some tests. That I have this little chintzy little black and white backdrop that I bought, my little Annie Leibovitz thing that was $35, and it's made out of like sweatshirt material. So I shot the musician and we used that for some shots and everything. And it kept bothering me when I would do a pullback, how you could sort of basically see everything surrounding him. So the same company, I just bought a 10-foot by 10-foot thing, same color, same style and everything. So that should be here next week. So the musician guy, I'm like, you got to come back in and we got to play around a little bit just so I can see how it works.
They're just drug, camera manufacturers, camera people, they're just drug dealers.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
say
yeah.
it's a little 5x8, and you go, oh, this is nice, and it's like, oh,
That's-
I gotta have that 10x10.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah, it is. It's addicting. I just got 2 new rolls of gaff tape in, and let me tell you, when you open that box, and they're so beautiful, and they almost smell pristine and Expendables, man.
Oh yeah, Expendables. Yeah, I've got a little gift pack from the set shop 2 years ago, and I got 4 little mini rolls of gaffer's tape. I got red, blue, black, white. Yeah, that's it. Just the 4 colors. And, yeah, it's nice to have that as a little backup. But well, you go through gaffer's tape, folks. Whenever you're shooting on location, and you have cables running around, you tape them to the floor.
Have you seen the cable tape that they've got where it's like sticky on 2 sides, but the center's all hollow? I just bought a whole bunch of that.
No, I've not seen that.
Stuff. Oh, hold on. Watch this. This is amazing.
The last thing you want is to have somebody come in there and trip over a cable.
I love sharing stuff. So this is it. And
it's even got
sticky
the
on the 2 sides. Yep. And then it's all hollow in the center. So you just lay it down. You just lay your cables down and it just glides right over there. It's beautiful. You can slide the cables back and forth if you need to. Amazing
that's
stuff.
Great. I got to
get
Does that shop have that?
It's Pro Gaff. I think it's on Amazon.
Okay.
So I bought like 6 rolls of it because this stuff, man, you just go through it like crazy.
Oh, and is it cheaper than gaffer's tape or about
a little more expensive?
Or more expensive?
I think for the 6 rolls I bought, I think I paid about $85 for all of them. So that might be a little cheaper per volume or something like that.
We had a shoot and we were shooting with 4 Normans, and we had power cables going over to the Norman heads. And I told my assistant to tape them to the floor. New assistant, ASU graduate in photography. And so he proceeded to tape them to the floor.
Oh no.
With duct tape. Not only did it wreck the floor, but it was years before you got the sticky crap off the lines, the plastic. It was just.
Yep.
I still have sticky stuff on that Norman head out there.
Mm-hmm.
That thing. I mean, it'll be there forever. There's the right tool for the right job.
Yep. Yeah, I always tell students, I'm like, because they're always just like, oh, you can just get like Gorilla Tape. And it's like, no, just spend the extra money and buy this stuff. Because trust me, just the amount of pain and turmoil it'll save you from trying to work towards.
The stories of photographers taping shit to the walls in offices and homes with duct tape.
Pulling
it off and pulling paint right off the wall.
Yep. And then you're just like, well, what kind of plant can I put in front of this wall before I leave so that they don't see what I've done?
Yeah. It's a terrible thing. So, and gaffer's tape, by the way, will not pull the paint off the wall.
No. So
anyway.
Tape. Yes.
Anybody want to share anything else with us? I'm going to ask Greg if he shot that layout. Did you shoot the layout I sent you, Greg? Kindred? He may have stepped away.
Yeah, I was going to volunteer that I photographed. I did a virtual photo session today.
I saw that. How'd it go?
And it was harder than I thought it would be. I had photographed Sophie. She was my volunteer. And the thing that I found really difficult was normally I just jump from behind the camera to in front of the camera to adjust things, move my camera. And here I had to tell the client, move the camera, no, bring it up a little more. Now lean forward. Oh, you have to fix your jacket now. And to do that remotely was so it took longer than if I had really been there in their place.
I can imagine
Behind the
probably
camera.
took twice as long.
It did. And then, the quality, the lighting and the posing and the expressions were great, but the quality of the photo itself wasn't. It's, I was shooting, I did print screen through a Zoom, and it'll be fine for a little profile square.
Did you not try to actually shoot your screen with the camera?
No, that you get I did try that, and that wasn't the camera. Having the rear facing camera on them that they used was way better. And then I did a print screen, because what you end up getting is you get a little hashing on the screen, not the frequency banding. It wasn't the same quality, is all I want to say. I did some tests, different ways, and it was better to just do a print screen.
Cool.
In the end.
Cool. But they'll be able to use them, this big on a website.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Let me. I'll share a screen.
Sure.
It's what you saw on Facebook. Yeah. Oops. Oh no, it's this one.
While she's doing that, Jerry, are you doing any virtual stuff at all?
Yeah, I'd be interested in learning a little more. This was like the school of hard knocks here. Even though I went to the University of YouTube and did some reading. But just to direct her to where to put the camera and not get the rest of the room. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
That's a shot of my screen. And if you look closely, you can see the banding there. That's not what the actual picture looked like.
Okay.
And then she took a picture of me. She did a print screen of herself, of her screen, sent that to me. What I was shooting there was the John D'Amato style, where you can see the laptop and the rest of the room and her on her laptop. But the pictures that were like this were print screens.
Okay.
But yeah, she would like presume. I said, okay, bring the chair, slide the chair over. She had a really great yellow chair that I thought was fantastic in the back. And she would just move the chair automatically so that the chair faced the camera. And I'm like, no, keep the chair facing the window, just sit in the chair. So she was making assumptions that, that I had to clarify for her. So yeah, it did take as long to do that. But she was quite happy with the results. So, I just showed her a couple of screen grabs. So anyway, that was the.
And what was she using, Carmen? What was she using on her end? Was it just her laptop or her phone?
Her phone. I had done tests with the laptop. Well, this was what I posted on Facebook. I found that using the rear camera on the phone was the best thing, quality-wise and sharpness-wise.
Yeah, the camera phone are amazing.
Wait, I have to stop sharing. There. Okay. Yeah, the camera phone was better, and not the rear-facing camera, not the front-facing camera. So she couldn't see herself. It was like having this invisible photographer in front of you, because she was just looking into this black box, the back of the camera, the back of her phone. So trying to guide her around. So eventually what we ended up doing is we did she linked in with her laptop so she could see herself and what I was talking about. To do it.
Virtual art direction or technical direction.
It was just like it was like being a puppet master. You had to pull all the strings. No, move the chair a little bit over to the left. Bring the camera a little over to the right. And of course, it's not my right, it's her left.
How many times did you end up saying, no, your other left?
No. I was like, before I opened my mouth, I realized, okay, she's inverted. It's her. And then I actually said, your left shoulder, and it was her left shoulder, to do that. Her comment to me was, your instructions were very clear. This was a lot of and she immediately posted on LinkedIn.
You're already ready. you are already set to go with a Hasselblad because the image is backwards. I mean, you're set. It
Well,
won't confuse
I
you at
did have a
all. Yeah.
Mamiya 6.7 for like that I shot when I shot film.
Now,
So
did you have the eyepiece?
no, I
Oh,
was looking down into the
oh,
viewfinder, so my
good
life
for
was
you.
flipped. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
like
that's the move of every 2 1/4 photographer. It's this.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's right.
No. You know, it's funny how like with the 6.7, I do recall just like your brain automatic. You do it enough that your brain just flips, and your
Yeah.
words that come out of your mouth make sense
Yeah, a
to
week
the person.
a week with the camera, and it's not happening anymore. You're
No.
good. You're totally good.
Yeah. So that was really interesting, and then I found out that she had an HD camera on her laptop in her office, and I'm like, oops. Now I know. I'll ask the question: do you have a separate camera other than the one that's on your laptop to shoot with?
Well, that's
So,
good. I'm really happy that you're doing stuff like that, because if we don't try it, if y'all don't try it, we'll
well,
never
the
know.
thing was, I would have sworn that shooting with my DSLR onto my screen from the other person's laptop, using their laptop camera would have been the answer, and that wasn't the case. And also your bandwidth, where I think Donna mentioned to you before that where I live, I don't have good bandwidth because I'm like in the old section of the city, and that fiber and that kind of stuff hasn't come yet.
Sure.
And so,
Well,
and then the idea of when you're on a phone, the autofocus on the phone, it would be nice to have somebody on the other side tapping the face on the phone so that it focuses.
Focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
But focus. Yep.
And she can't pre-focus it herself because she's not in front of. If she's by herself, she can't be. So yeah, I felt like I was doing it with my hands, my one hand tied behind my back, or maybe both hands tied behind my back.
Well, I think that as time progresses here and we keep getting more and more challenges to our everyday life with this whole thing, unless we can, as a world, agree. So sorry to say that word, but as a world agree to what we're going to do with this stuff. I don't think we ever will agree on pretty much anything. But unless we can do that, I think there's going to be more and more innovations along the same lines as you were doing there.
She was thrilled. But she's the kind of person that likes to be thrown into a challenge. So when I asked her, well, she was like a paying client, and we had a real photo shoot, and then we got locked down. And then I offered this to her, and she goes, "Why not?" And she was just really welcoming to the challenge, as opposed to someone else who would have just said, "Why do I have to do this? How come?" And be whiny about it.
One of the things that Sam Elkins and his producer friend talk about is the absolute necessity of always coming back with the shot. There is no excuse. Rain, snow, it's no excuse unless the snow actually snows on your set or something like that. There's no excuse. You've got to come back with the shot. And every time you go out, Sid, Jerry is a videographer. You know what I'm talking about, Jerry. Every time you go out, you think, "Oh, I got this," and it's always something else, and you think,
"Yep,
what the hell?"
And you have to adapt to that. You can't
quickly.
You can't preconceive something and be like, "Well, this isn't good." No, it is what it is, and you just have to make the best of it.
Yep.
And you got to make the client happy.
Yep.
I've done that plenty of times.
Yes.
Especially corporate shit. You get to a location, like without pre-scouting it, and you're just like, there's nothing here. Like it's just
well, first
a
you have
gross
to deal with
office wasteland.
First, you have to deal with the fact that the guy whose job it was to tell the night manager to let you in didn't do that.
Yep.
Jerry's laughing over. He knows exactly what I'm
Or
talking
they
about. Show
forgot
up
to
and
leave
go,
your name
"I'm
with
the
security.
photographer." We got nothing here.
Yep. Yeah. We've gotten into, like in Boston, we've gotten to buildings where they have security on the first floor, and I just conveniently forget to leave my name the night before. So it's just like, no, really, I'm supposed to be here. Like, call somebody, please.
But that takes an hour.
That's awesome.
Time.
Oh yeah, it's just because everybody's.
I've never left. I've never said, okay, well now I'll leave. I'll call the client at home at 11:30 at night if I have to do it. That was supposed to be taken care of, and pretty much, and then that pretty much everything else that was supposed to be taken care of, like the desks all straightened up and all that stuff, that wasn't done either.
Right.
So 2-hour job stretches into a 4 or 5-hour job because you're vacuuming the floor with making sure all the vacuum lines go the same way, because you can't shoot an office building with vacuum lines going like a checkerboard through it. So this goes on and on and on. But
it's all the fun. That's all the fun of.
But that's why we get to do it.
That's
charge money for it, because other people will never do that. They won't come back with the shot.
Yep.
So.
Gotta get
it. Hey,
it.
it's been a great show, folks. Thank you so much.
Yes.
If there's nothing else, everybody want to share one last thing, we will take off. Is there anybody?
Hey, Don, just real quick. You were talking about 2 1/4 camera. Try shooting a football game with one of those.
Well, yeah. I shot, Lauren, I shot fashion. I shot runway with them. And I'm a big believer that initially it's hard as hell, but after a couple of weeks, it's just totally natural. Totally natural, and you just get into it. Like the first time I got behind a view camera, not only is it backwards, it's also upside down.
It's upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Brett Weston saying, he was right. If your composition looks good upside down and backwards, chances are it's a good composition.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that was always a benefit to it. It's upside down and backwards, and if it works that way, it's definitely going to work the other way. So, but yeah, how many times we see the old view camera go this way, stop and come back this way. And up and down, you're moving it up and go, oh, no, down. You got to move it down.
That was part of the process, though. That was part of the magic.
That was part of the fun.
Yes, that was just
it was, and
making conscious decisions. And
I love all our modern stuff, but there was a real sense of accomplishment when you first learned how to tilt that front and pull that back, and you could get a box in focus 20 inches from your camera all the way through on a 300 millimeter lens. You were like patting yourself on the back all the way home. I mean, it was an achievement. Now it's Helicon, and we focus stack it and be done with it.
Right.
But that's all right.
No more circles of confusion and reciprocity.
No, I live in circles of confusion.
Yes.
I see. You're talking photographically. Yeah.
Good band name too. Circles of Confusion.
Exactly. Everybody have a great one. We'll see you next time.
Be safe.
Be safe, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.